It's been a while. A lot has changed in my life since I last made a video with myself in it. I've been a bit distracted these last few months after finding out I'm going to be a dad. That's not to say I haven't been working on videos. I actually got a lot of B-roll filmed for multiple video ideas with scripts written out, but every time it came to the part where I needed to be in front of the camera, I just wasn't feeling it. All I could squeeze out completely was a voiceover for my Film Boy series video. But I think it's time I get back into things, so here goes. So these days with social media, connecting with a creative community and finding inspiration is easier than ever. But honestly, it comes with some downsides. For photographers, for example, Instagram has become a great resource for discovering other photographers and connecting with them, and also sharing our work. But having so many people on the same platform, especially with followers and likes, sort of leads to this curve of sameness. For someone new to photography or film photography, your first thoughts would be, this has a lot of likes, must be a good photo. If they have a lot of followers, they must be a great photographer. So naturally, that would imply if you want to have a lot of likes or followers, you'll need to have photos with similar subjects and locations with the same type of editing or film. So this leads to a lot of the same types of photos being taken and shared. And I'm not against that. I don't think anything's really wrong with that unless you're completely copying someone's photo. It's nice to have a point of reference for specific styles. It's nice to be able to get ideas and inspiration about shooting certain subjects by just searching a related hashtag. But you gotta admit, if Bo Burnham can write a whole song about the stereotypical creative portrait on Instagram, it's definitely a bit oversaturated. For me, and I'm sure others like me, there's definitely days where Instagram, surprisingly enough, just isn't the fulfilling inspiration that I'm yearning for. For these days, I like to turn to a good old photo book. So what are photo books? Photo books are usually compilations of work curated by the photographer. They're usually with some kind of description, sometimes not, of the photos and some insight into their process. In my opinion, these are great sources of inspiration because you get to look at the photos yourself and decide for yourself if you like them or not and why, while also making a connection with the photographer and their reasons for the shot. I have a small collection of these books and I thought, hey, these would be kind of cool to do a video on. Today I'm going to be reviewing two of them that I thought would be an interesting pairing because they're very different but also kind of similar in some ways. And these two photo books are Pictures Volume 2 by Jeff Bridges and 0327, the first edition by Lisa from BLACKPINK. So what's the dang theme here? Well, obviously these are two very famous people in their own rights, but unless you're a huge fan of them, you probably don't know that they have a huge love of photography, specifically film photography for these two. And what I love about this is you're being given a peek into how a creative that's known mostly for their talent in other mediums can express themselves through photography. Jeff's book is a hefty one. If you don't know who Jeff Bridges is for some weird reason, he's a Hollywood actor who's been around for a while. If you're from the younger generation, you'll probably recognize him from the first Iron Man movie, R.I.P.D. or Tron.
It was impressive, really.
If you're from the older generation, you'll probably recognize him from the 1976 King Kong movie, The Big Lebowski, and also Tron. So for each movie he's been in, he takes these really interesting photos with an old wide lux camera, which has this slow panoramic effect. It lets him take these super wide shots, but also gives the opportunity to do some creative things in between. Because it takes a few seconds to take the photo, he's able to tell the subject to pose on one side and then run to the other side and do a different pose in the same photo. This is how he does these drama mask type photos, like those go-to drama mask you see in theaters. You know what I'm talking about. There's so much drama in these pictures, like it just seems like so much is going on at one time. For all you Bully Maguire fans out there, there's a great one of him looking down, about to put some dirt in your eye.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Oh, this is so cool with the mannequins. I'm guessing this is what they filled the bleachers with, or what do you call them? The stands for the race. Oh, there's a shot from Iron Man. Getting into some Tron stuff here. Tron Legacy, not the original Tron. Some Olivia Wilde. Look at that. Crazy wide. So cool because it's wide, but it's not distorted. Like, it's not a fisheye lens wide. It's crazy because these people are just acting like in their acting mode, but then you see everybody working behind the scenes too. This is a crazy shot of this lake. Lots of emotions in this picture. Oh, this one is just crazy. I love this one. Both of these are just so dramatic and so cool. So he would actually ask permission before he did this on each movie, and then take all these pictures. And then I was listening to a podcast he did on I think it was on Analog Talk, and he was explaining that he did these, and at the end of when they wrapped the film, he would make little books of all the photos and give them to everybody. I thought that was pretty cool. Just something he did, you know, every film. So yeah, that's Jeff Bridges' book. Okay, moving on. Since the day I got to see them live at Coachella, I've been a pretty big fan of BLACKPINK. A blink, if you will. And though each member has their own unique creative talents about them, Lisa, the group's main rapper and dancer, in my opinion, has been the most openly creative. Fellow Blinks will know that aside from being part of this famous foursome, she also has a love for photography and owns a pretty impressive collection of cameras. This book I have here is the first edition released in 2020 of her book, 0327, the title being a reference to her birthday, March 27th, when the book was released. So how's the actual book? We get a lot of pictures of Lisa, which as a fan is cool and all, but as a photographer that means she didn't take these pictures. I'm looking for the photos she's taken herself. Although I will say that the art direction and the styling on these shoots of her are crazy. Also, there's a lot of photos that she's taken of herself where we get little peeks at the type of camera that she's using, which is always really cool to see. Like all these little shots from their travels. When BLACKPINK goes on tour, I'm sure they have just a little bit of time to walk around and do some things. I'm sure they're heavily guarded, but it's cool to see these little shots of, you know, like shots of the street, or the shot of the violin or cello. I think it's a cello. Oh, this shot is so cool. This is more of what I was trying to see. The shot of it's at an orchard, and then the Ferris wheel. I don't know why. I really think these two shots of the pigeons are really cool. Where is this at? I think this must be in France, right? That's French, maybe? I can't read. Lots of shots of behind the scenes of the other members as well. Always cool to see. This is really cool. One of my favorites in this book are the three kids here. Very street photography style. Like Jeff Bridges' book, I really like how we get to see a lot of the behind the scenes, the girls in their spare time or between performances, and the places Lisa has traveled to. Does it hold up to being a true photo book to turn to for inspiration as a photographer? Probably not. Does it offer something interesting to a fan of Blackpink that's also into photography? Sure. So that's my little review of these books. I'm not going to rate them or anything like that. I just wanted to do this type of video to make people more aware that these types of books exist and maybe offer a new source of inspiration. I've got a few more books I'd like to share, so expect a few more videos like this, I guess. Anyways, thanks for watching.